Hello, welcome back. Today, we're not doing body work. Mostly because, well, I've been sick and didn't get anything done the past week, but still wanted to make a video for this month. It's like the 27th, so, shows how that's going. Instead, we're gonna be tearing apart this engine here. Now, I don't know if I said this in the first video. I think I did. This is a Volvo white block. It's engine code B5234T3. For the non-Volvo nerds out there, basically what that means, it's a 2.3 liter 5-cylinder with single variable valve timing on the exhaust cam. These were rated at about 260 horsepower from the factory. Nothing crazy, but that's gonna change. We're gonna make a little bit more sauce than that. We're gonna make a few changes to this engine. Not this video, but in the coming videos. I've got a 2.5 liter cylinder head that has dual VVT for this. So we're gonna be using that cylinder head, which we're gonna have to take parts off of this cylinder head to make that one work, as of course it's blown up. It came off of my daily driver. It has approximately 400,000 kilometers on that cylinder head, actually closer to 500,000, but it still looks to be in good shape aside from a burnt valve, so we're gonna end up using that. That cylinder head, it's gonna make a little bit more power, it's gonna flow a little bit better, gonna do a little bit better overall for our performance goals. Now, this motor, we're gonna start pretty simply. We're gonna get everything off of this that I reasonably can. We're gonna set it to cylinder 1 at top dead center. Currently this engine has no spark plugs. I took all the wiring off of it, aside from a couple of things like the throttle body connector here and the NOx sensors. They're kind of hanging out as well. We're gonna get all these vacuum lines and coolant lines off because we're gonna have to rerun all of those. Pull these injectors off, take a look, see what they look like. They probably won't be used in this engine. They're not quite big enough for what we want. We're gonna get the exhaust manifold off, we're gonna get the cylinder head off, and we're gonna strip down the bottom end so it's a bare block, ready for us to do a couple of choice modifications for it, clean everything up, paint it, make it look nice, throw some beefy aftermarket rods in it before we attach this. Now, this that I'm referring to is the supercharger off of a Pontiac Bonneville with the Buick 3.8 liter V6.
Nice.
I wonder, some of you may be thinking, Snad, why would you be using that supercharger? You have a turbo, just put a big fucking turbo on that. And I answer you, so, that being said, let's get started here. Now, I've got the intake manifold off of here, and while it is worth noting, this fuel line here isn't gonna stay. This is a really shitty fuel line design, in my opinion. It's a pain in the ass to remove. You need a specialized tool for this. This PCV setup, this whole PCV system, it's got a bunch of coolant lines going through it. It's also an atrocious system. We've got the intake off, and these valves all look really good. I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but I don't see much carbon buildup at all in these. They don't usually build up too badly, like if at all, but this engine seems like it was running really well. There's no weird pitting in it. The runners on the intake, they all look really good as well. There's not much carbon buildup in them at all, even though they can build up just a little bit from the PCV system there. So in general, this engine so far is looking really good. I do know that this engine does in fact turn over freely. It builds compression in at least some of the cylinders because I cranked it over when it still had plugs and coils in it. and the coils were even good in it. So, what leads me to believe the reason why this car ended up in the junkyard that I pulled this motor out of, I believe that it was probably due to a transmission failure, as it was a P2 chassis S60, and they do fail, they do blow up transmissions.
Sometime later.
Alright, so I got the exhaust manifold off here, and it's, number one, this is a heavy manifold. It's a big cast iron turbo manifold. It's nearly indestructible. We're gonna remake that, because that thing sucks. For flow and for performance, it's just not what we want. Now, the big thing is that manifold, well, yes, it's in good shape. It was definitely leaking. You can see all the soot around these ports. I mean, the valves all look good. We don't see any huge obstructions. We might port this cylinder head out a little bit. We could do that a little bit. There's enough meat in these walls that we could feather down the middle here, make it flow a little bit nicer, give us just another little edge on power. That's an option that we can explore later. Yeah, I'm gonna get this big coolant line that's coming from the water pump here off. I'm gonna get this oil cooler off here. We're not going to reuse that, I don't believe. We're just gonna plug off the holes for it, and then we shall set our timing, and we will take the cylinder head off. Hello, welcome back. It's the next day. Last night my phone died, so I didn't finish taking this apart. I got all the stuff off of it, so we don't have any manifolds left on it. We got all the weird bracketry that's kind of sitting over here off of it, all the mounts and things like that that are going to need to be remade for our rear-wheel drive application, our front-wheel drive application. So I'm gonna pull some power of YouTube magic and just kind of snap my fingers, and this cam cover is gonna go off. Okay, I'm back. I've got the cam cover off here, and this motor actually looks pretty good inside. I mean, we do have some oil pooling in the head here. That's pretty common. I did have this motor upside down a little while ago. I was just looking at the oil pan, seeing if it would actually clear the reinforced bar on this thing. It doesn't with the head, or with the cam cover still on, but that's not the point. The point is, this actually looks pretty clean. These valve buckets all seem to turn freely. There's a little bit of like crust in here, like this stuff that fell in when I pulled the cam cover off there. But all in all, it looks really good in here. I think this is going to be a solid base from what I can see here. I'm not too worried about the small amounts of wear on these cam buckets. I've put together motors with a hell of a lot worse. I rebuilt one of these motors, the top end of one, for my daily driver, and I put rusty valve buckets, and it still works. Shows that you can get away with a lot of bullshit on a lot of things. So we're gonna get these main bolts out. These are tight, and when I say tight, I mean it. They're 60 Newton meters plus 130-degree rotation on them, torque to yield bolts. So we're gonna struggle with these, that's for sure. So let's get to it. It's been another day. It's freaking cold out now, and I couldn't get any of these head bolts out last night. They are very tight, and this bar is doing a whole lot of fuck off. I just moved the stand around. I can't grease it on anything to get it so that I can turn them out, because I'm here alone. So we're gonna do this about that.
5 hours later.
Through the power of the impact gun, I pronounce you free! Come on, little buddy. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, that is heavy. Come on, get off the stud. Okay, well, let's see what we got here. So, we have some fairly decent looking cylinders. I mean, they are worn. There is a distinct lip in these, right about there. But you know what? They don't look too bad. There is still, I don't know if you can see it on camera, a bit of cross-hatching left in these cylinders. But it is definitely a higher mileage motor. However, it's 2.3 liter, so the reason why we've chosen this 2.3 liter, not one of their 2.5s, is due to right here, these cylinder walls. Now, I'll throw up a picture on the screen of the 2.5 liter cylinder walls, because they are significantly thinner right in here, and we'll end up cracking these right in between these cylinders here, which I don't know if you know much about motors, but that's not ideal. Hey, even these oil passageways look pretty good. Not bad for a junkyard motor. Fairly decent. I don't see any noticeable wear in any of this stuff. A little dirt and debris, but that's probably from our screwing around here. I mean, the cylinder head, I haven't flipped it over. The head gasket doesn't look blown anywhere. It's bent, but that's because I removed it. These bolts, these are all going to get replaced. They're all one-time use bolts. We're going to go with ARP head studs on this, just for a little bit of extra security and safety there. How do our valves look here? One moment. Let me get this flipped up on its side. And they look pretty good. All these look to be in good shape, which means we're going to actually reuse all of these valves. We're going to do a valve job on our other cylinder head and reuse every one of these valves in that motor. Because these are, if I remember correctly, these are a sodium-filled valve. So they're a little bit better. Everything looks to be in good shape on this engine. I'm excited. It seems we have a solid base to start from. I'm going to pull this oil pan off real quick here. That's going to be what you see next. So we can take a look at the rod bearings, see what they're looking like. But other than that, it seems like we got a good place to start. I present to you all one very disassembled white block. We got all of our pistons laid out here, the cylinder head, cam cover with the cams. One is still in it. It's stuck. Don't know why. Got all of our timing stuff here, our oil pickup, some bracketry, injectors. We got the intake manifold, we got the oil pan, all sorts of stuff here. And this engine actually looks fantastic inside. There's a little bit of dirt and stuff that I've dropped in here already, but these bearing races look fantastic. All the bearings on these connecting rods look great. I don't think we're gonna have any issues with this motor at all. It all looks to be in really good shape. We're gonna give it a quick hone with the Dinkelball hone at some point here and clean up those cylinder walls a little bit, and then put fresh rings in it. We're gonna do new rods, new bearings. I might end up leaving these crank bearings because they are kind of a pain to remove and replace, but we are gonna polish this crank a little bit just in block, get everything all reassembled here, get it all cleaned up. We're gonna paint the block, we're gonna paint the head, we're gonna paint the cam cover, not the cams. That'd be bad, don't do that. So yeah, that's gonna be saved for next time. I'm gonna do some measurements, some research on these rods to figure out which ones we need, because that'll change if we're going with an actual like max speeding rod or if we're going straight to Evil Bay to find something there, because that seems to be the only place that I can find forged rods for the shorter rod motors. Also,